So, hey people, welcome to the Sunday night talk. Before I start, a few things I need to say. On my website, you can check out various things. You can check out my new book. And there's a one-to-one Skype sessions. You can book in for one of those. You can also donate, and I'm very grateful for those who do donate. Even if it's a small donation, it's really appreciated, and it kind of encourages me to keep going. Because I don't put ads on my YouTube channel, so I don't get any monetary value for doing this, only from donations. What else? I do a Wednesday night chat group, and I also have a Facebook page. That's kind of it. So, hey Paul, hey Anne, hi Jim, hi Donnie, hey Keel, hey Other Sun, hey Follingay. I was going to do an introduction, but I'll read this first. If you're aware of this sentence, you are already all that exists, only thought says you're a person. Well, even that's a thought, isn't it? Being aware that you're, hang on, wants me to reinstall something. Remind me tomorrow. There we go. If you're aware of this sentence, you're already all that exists. Well, that's just a thought, isn't it? You are already all that exists. What does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's just what's happening. And there's no thoughts about that. You can't have a thought about that. If you're aware of this sentence, well, there's just the sentence being read. The awareness of it would be an extra layer of thought. Hi, lovely. Hi, SS. So, hi, Richard. So I assume that most people who listen to this talk are looking for something. They're looking for an end with the self, usually, when they come to non-duality. Hi, Joe. And, but this thing that you're looking for, it exists in an idea. It exists as a construct, a concept of there being something that is going to be got. But if you really look at it, you'll see that it's just a concept. That whatever you're looking for is never going to arrive anyway, because it exists only in thought. It exists as a feeling towards something, even though you don't know what it is. And anything that you do think it is going to be an idea. It will never see, the seeker will never see that all there is what is happening, which is here, just sitting on the chair, speaking with tea and everything else. And this, all that is, just this, what is actually what you think you're looking for, what you are looking for, but you won't find it because it's already found. It's a paradox, really. Looking for something which already is. It's something that goes on within what is already happening. Looking for something is what is happening. And ironically, it's looking for it is what you're looking for. What is happening is what you're looking for, because this is the end of seeking. All that is, which is just what's happening, is the end of seeking, because when all there is this, there's nothing to actually find anymore, because all those constructs and ideas of freedom and enlightenment just fall away. And then there is only freedom, but that freedom isn't for anybody. It's just the flow of life, the unfolding of life, whatever that is. That can be, you know, it can be, it's an everything. It's everything that's happening, and that can be painful or joyous or nothing or whatever, watching television or feeling peaceful or feeling annoyed. All those things that aren't done by anybody is what you're looking for. Hi, A. Hi, S. Because there's nothing outside of what is happening. The only thing that's outside of what is happening is conceptual. It's always conceptual. It's looking, and also if the seeker's looking in what's happening, it's still looking for some kind of something within it that it's not seeing. It thinks it's not seeing something, it's not getting something. And there isn't anything here that it can get, because it's too boring and too ordinary for the seeker that lives in the idea of enlightenment being something golden and joyous and blissful for itself. So it feels like it has arrived somewhere at long last. With all my years of seeking, which never actually really happened, in all my years of seeking, I have found the key to life. When there is no key to life, there is only life. There is only this. And this can't be explained as something, because it isn't anything. There's nothing here for the person. There's just nothing here. That is personal. The person resides in a separate parent, separate reality, which feels separate. And I know we all know this idea, but it just, excuse me, I've got a bit of a throat today. I was speaking, I did a talk yesterday and I was talking all afternoon. Anyway. Oh, it's such a funny subject. It's such a strange subject, because all we're talking about is what is happening. But also we're talking about the looking for that, and how the looking for it is actually just conceptual. Okay, so Joe, it's not what they think is. Well, there is no they, Joe. There's just what's happening. It says there's no other thing happening or can be happening. Yeah, there's just this. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It can't be more obvious. Right under your nose. It is everything. It's. You can't even find it conceptually, because that would be just part of the scenery. It says, the mind is a shithole. It tries its best to predict the future or look in the past, and is always false. But also it can't control the mind. It can't just be still in here now. Well, a still mind is irrelevant in what I'm talking about. The busy mind is in free fall. The sense of the person is in free fall. The sense of the person is what's happening. It is the life blasting as a somebody. But there's also this blasting into life, these words out of nowhere, not really out of a person, not out of a brain, they're just appearing, saying that this me that you think you are is not you at all. There is no you. There's just this life appearing as a you. Yeah, the mind can never be here, it says. The mind can never be here because the mind is like trying to be, there's no here. Being here is still another idea that is rattling around, trying to be held on to being here. There is no here. Here is another idea. Here. What is here? What doesn't it doesn't even mean anything here. Not really. Yeah, it's just what's happening. No, nothing's good or bad. Well, there isn't anything. Good and bad are the same appearance. Richard, loving new book. Oh, thank you. Any word on the Kindle version? Yes, next month. Because it has to be completely reformatted. And I have to do that. But I'm working on it. Of the sun. If this is all an illusion, then the word illusion is an illusion. I've never said this is all an illusion. This cannot be. This appearance of life. This life doesn't have any concept to it. This is not an illusion. This is beyond an illusion. I call the sense of self an illusion because it's not really a person. It's not really who you are. It's an illusory person. That person is illusory, but everything that is appearing, including the person, is not an illusion. Because who would it be? Who would it be an illusion for? It's neither an illusion or not an illusion. It can't be described what this is because it just is. It has no description because every description is a thing, which is duality. It says no control. Yeah, no one to have control. Just the idea of control. Story of control. Hi, Paul. Joe, Lisa can talk for England. Well, don't know. Not too long. A weekend. Yes. It's a weird thing. I had a moment of this and thought how simple and obvious it is. I was laughing. Then it went. And now I think it's the hardest thing to see. Can't believe how easy, but it can seem hard. Yeah, it didn't go. It's just that the structure of self came back with this, with its belief, with its illusion, with its dream of I have lost something. It's a dream of I have lost something. I being the base setting of that dream, and I have lost something being the story around that. So nothing is ever lost because that sense of self is still aliveness. Yes, and when it is seen as such, when it's seen that that self was never really there, it wasn't a person at all. It just seems really clear, really obvious. It's just like, well, yeah, of course, it's just this. It's just obvious. It can only seem hard as the story has the story of it being hard and it being so far away from it. But this is all a dream. This is the dream of the person. It's like a kind of a virtual reality it lives in of I am separate and I have lost something and all the rest of it. Lovely. Could you say something about forgiveness and how we can stop being angry and wrong at the wrongs of others? Does not look like they so not have. It does not look like they so not have a me. Oh, so do. It does not look like they do not have a me. Well, only in the story of the me. The story of the me says there's lots of other me's. When the story of the me is not there anymore, there are no other me's. There is only spontaneous life. I don't know anything about processes, about forgiveness or anything like that. Not really. I don't talk about this here because I just don't have that propensity to talk in a therapeutic way. It doesn't actually interest me. Yeah. There's a million people on YouTube who'll tell you how to forgive. That's not something I do. Sorry. Paul, do you say, like you say, the obviousness of what's happening is so obvious, but it's not enough to end the search. The seeking machine just keeps on trucking. It can become exhausting. Yeah, it just rolls along in a story that it is rolling along, but it's not actually rolling along at all. It's always fresh. Even the sense of me is fresh, but it appears as not being fresh. It appears as a continuum. It has the illusion of being a continuum. Now that's an illusion. The continuum is an illusion, but I would never say what is happening is an illusion. People often say that to me. Why do you say it's all an illusion? I'm like, I've never said that. This is all an illusion. It says, suffering seems to be the last thing to come. Suffering seems to be the last thing to come to this conclusion, for the false self to fall away. There's no rhyme nor reason for anything. Everything is already life. This body-mind actually wasn't seeking when the sense of self fell away. So, I don't know, I hadn't even heard of non-duality. You see, that would have to be a story. Suffering seems to be the last thing to come to this conclusion. No, that's just a story. Because you can't find it, it's just a thought appearing in the head, an idea. There's no ideas in this, there's no reason for it that is tangible to the mind. It's just absolute aliveness. And that's the description. Lovely, I understand. Yeah, thanks. Hi, Kunalka. Then what about nuts and oats? I don't know what those are. Nuts and oats. Well, it's very subtle. Yeah, it's very subtle. But not as well. It's very subtle to the mind, but it's just this. It's actually like it's like screaming. It's like screaming. This is it. This it's here. This. It's shouting. The cup shouting. Life cup. Suffering's a story. Yeah. Kunalka. Hope I'm saying that right. Near-death experience and out-of-body experience suggests that we can carry on as subtle bodies. What about that part? I had an out-of-body experience, but now it's seen that it was just what was happening. Yeah, there was no one having an out-of-body experience. It was just what was happening. Near death. Near death. Well, near death is not death, is it? Really? It doesn't matter what's appearing. We carry on as subtle bodies. I don't know anything about that. I had 2 out-of-body experiences, one on hallucinogenics when I was 21, and one when I was giving birth. But they were just one, you know, and I look back on it, and now it's just a story. What can I say? It's no different from going for a walk in, you know, down the shop. It's just what's happening. This can appear as anything. I mean, my God, it appears as space and moon. I mean, that's like more wild, but that we carry on. I don't know if we carry on. I can't find a we. I can't find a carrying on. There's nothing here except for what is, and that isn't in time or space. Listen, I disagree, Joe. I think suffering could be described as a very intense sensation. Yeah, suffering happens. Suffering happens. Yeah. It's suffering when it's suffering. When it's not suffering and thought about suffering, then it's a story. All right, getting hot here. Suddenly got really hot. It's like 29 degrees today. Oh, thanks. Yes. Yes, Paul. I have become exhausted since I had that moment. It sends me mad. And if I had it, and it apparently went, even though I know it's here, I can't see it. No. No. This is an absolute booby prize for the me, because there's nothing for it. Because it's the end of it. There's nothing here. There's nothing here for the person. The person is this, appearing as a person. So how can it find anything? The sun, that is overlaid with a story from the ego, which tends to intensify the sensation of the suffering. Yeah, well, actually, the person's story about the suffering is sometimes often more intense than the actual suffering. Suffering is very immediate. Yes. Can we ever know or see what we are? Well, we aren't. When I look now, I just see that what was happening as a person was just what was happening. And now it's just a story. So I can say when we can see what we are, we can see that we were a story that was very much believed and contracted in emotionally, because it feels so psychologically and emotionally tight. On money. Yeah, I don't listen to money. Sorry. Kuna, you must talk to LMA. She is great and has similar opinion to you. This is not an opinion. This is nothing. This is just what's happening. Just what's happening. This doesn't come from a brain or an idea or knowledge. This is the opposite of that. This is absolutely unknowing. I'm not actually saying anything. I'm not saying anything. Oh God, it's so funny. It says, it's just life experiencing spontaneously. Yeah, it's just life. It's just life. It's just this. It's just table. It's just computer. It's just body. And then, you know, in the seeker, there's all these ideas that it's something else. It's crazy. The me's crazy. it lives in a delusion that there's something else that isn't this, when it's here. Gay. Hi Lisa, hi Gay. Liberation Unleashed. Check out website. Maybe. I don't really look at non-duality. Even though I'm a speaker, I actually have no interest in non-duality. Hi, Steve. Kunal. Freedom doesn't know it is free because all there is freedom. Freedom doesn't know it's free. All there is freedom. I can't make any sense of that. There is no thing that is freedom. The words are descriptions, they're not absolutes. It's neither knows or doesn't, it's beyond that, it's beyond it. Yeah, it's just aliveness. Lovely. Lisa, if there is no me, so how a recognition of thoughts as thoughts and feelings as feelings occur? There must be a knowing in order for that recognition to happen. Okay, so say you're, someone says to you, no, say you go and bang your funny bone in your elbow. Do you need to recognize that you've banged your elbow, or is it really obvious? If there's a feeling, do you have to know there's a feeling, or is it obvious there's a feeling? Do you need to know that there's a screen in front of you? What would need to know that? Does it need to be known? Needing to know would be another idea. Needing to know is an idea. It's conceptual. Here's a computer screen, and now I need to recognize it's a computer screen. That is just not necessary. Paul, you said you weren't seeking when the me fell away, but Tony says the me can't do nothing but seek whether it wants to or not. Yeah, it might not. It wasn't seeking in non-duality. That's what I meant. Yeah, it was probably seeking something else. Lisa got bored of seeking. Listen, I have an idea about what a story is, but I don't know what it means to call everything just a story. It means to call everything just a story. Well, everything is not just a story. Stories happen. The mind and the person, or whatever you want to call it, has stories about things, but they're just stories that happen. That's all they are. It's life being a story. It's life being a table. They're the same thing. They're the same aliveness. Understand? Maybe a part of me can't understand because me understanding a story is another story. Yes. Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. Hi, Wa. Some tea. A lot of questions tonight. The sun. I think that I overthink non-duality sometimes because I feel like there's something special in this. Even if you say there's just what's happening, my mind becomes more and more curious. Yeah, your mind's been curious about sitting on a chair. Like there's something special in that. Because the me wants something to be special. It feels separate. It feels lost. It feels lost. And if something special happens to me, then I won't feel lost anymore. I will have got there. I will be complete. But you see, there is no non-duality. The name non-duality doesn't actually mean anything at all. It's just a title that's used for this absolutely wonderful and weird subject, which isn't about anything. So there's nothing really to overthink. But overthinking happens because the seeker can't help it. The seeker just can't help it. That's what it does. A mouse can't help being a mouse. A seeker can't help being a seeker. Yes, yeah, me too. I got you. There's nothing here for the self. I just tripped myself. Yeah, the self always trips itself. It's always in this kind of perpetual motion. And then it's very comes up with very subtle and clever concepts about everything. It's like sitting here on a chair, trying to have a concept about what it is to be sitting on a chair. It's just sitting on a chair. Kunal, the mystery is so loud I can't even point to it. It's like the self needs to cling to things and beliefs. I can't relax back to being held. Yeah, well, you won't be held. You'll be annihilated. You'll be completely annihilated. The whole thing is just gone. There's no being held, there's no awareness, there's no consciousness, there's none of these concepts and beliefs go on any longer. The whole lot just goes. It's like a death, really. It's like a death. But nobody dies. It's just the death of concepts and beliefs and contracted separateness and feeling lost and insecure and anxious and all those things that the self clings onto actually as being itself. Well, I'm bored of seeking, Lisa. What do you suggest? Take up tennis? Flower arranging? Yeah, well, that's just a story of the me, isn't it? I'm bored of seeking now because I haven't gotten anywhere. So I'm kind of sick of it now. Yeah, that was a story here too for a long time. It's like we did the seminar yesterday and we were talking about, we're all sat here, we're not going to leave with anything. And I'm making some reference to cupcake groups to get together to make cupcakes. And I said, well, at least with a cupcake group, at least you go away with some cake. With this, you go away with nothing. And that can be very frustrating for the seeker because the seeker always wants something. So it just gets sick of seeking because it doesn't get anything. Because what you're trying to get is you're trying to get something conceptual to make the conceptual me feel less conceptual. It's all conceptual, the whole lot. Feeling real, feels real. But that's all it does, it just feels real. But a lot of you know what it's like for that not to be there, even for a moment. So how real is it then? It's suddenly not real anymore. It's like the end of a religion, the religion of me. It says it's so obvious, but the mind can't handle the obviousness of what is love. No, because there's nothing for it. That's why it can't handle it. The me can't handle this because it's the death of it. Yeah, so when it's like suddenly seen, like, oh yeah, the me can just die for a second or 5 or 10 or a day or a week or forever, but it can't handle that recognition because there's nothing here for it. So it panics. There's a panic going on in the head. Paul, check out Liberation Unleashed. I suspect Paul already has. I think Paul's checked out everything. I think that's why he's sick of seeking. Because there's nothing for you, Paul. Because you're just you're a conceptual reality. That thing that goes on in you is an apparent separate reality, but it's not separate at all. No, does this tripping equals the natural process? Does this tripping equals the natural process of expansion and contraction out of zero, everything appearing out of nothing? That to me is just conceptual. There's nothing happening here, Kunal. There's no expansion or contraction. There's no nothing. There's no everything. There's no not nothing. There's no not everything. None of it. No, there's no concept. As soon as you start like trying to make something out of it, it's just a trip going on in the head. It's just a head trip. This is the end of all that. It all goes. Any idea of what this is completely eradicated. Paul, actually, I'm not bored with seeking. I'm totally pissed off with it because I can't seem to stop doing it. Yeah, but it's not you that's it's not actually a person that's seeking. It's not even a you that's seeking. It's not a you that's bored. It's not a you that's pissed off. That's aliveness happening. There's no control over what aliveness appearing as Paul gets up to. It's totally free. Keel, seeking for what is everything. So sad and funny. Yeah, I know, yeah. I'm seeking to be sitting on a chair. I'm seeking for now, when you're making a cup, I'm now seeking for making a cup of tea. You actually made, the body's making the tea, but you're looking for it. It is sad and funny. Yes. What are we? There's no we. When death happens, is there just that space behind us which remains? Is that why people say no one dies? I don't know. I don't remember being dead, I'm afraid. No one was ever born. There's nobody here. When the body dies, the sense of self will die because it's part of a construction that happens in the body, in the human. When that's gone, it'll just, I don't know what happens then. I don't know. I can't say. It's already dead. This is already dead. It's already death. It's already life and death all at once. CDD, hi Lisa. I did have my glimpse, and my me likes to remember that amazingness. Yeah, it wants to get hold of it again, doesn't it? Like it would know it when it what the glimpse is a suddenly release of the sense of self. So the self will never know it because it's actually reality without me. That's why the me will never know it. But I find myself depressed and caught up in my mind when I talk and do things that aren't natural. I don't know what you mean by aren't natural. Oh, you're going to carry on, Steve. 1 times 0 equals 0. Yeah, everything times everything equals 0. 0 times 0 equals everything. Cool. Yesterday I was drunk with my mates and we were chatting about the illusion of self, and I was amazed to see how everyone got annoyed and angry and started cursing me. So funny. Yeah, people aren't going to like this message, Kunal. They're just not. I never talk about this with anybody except for you guys and a few friends who I've met in this message. Just forget it. You know, the me is very defensive about its apparent life. Gonna get angry if you start pointing out that it's all illusory. But that's okay. That's okay. That's just what happens. This is what the human is subject to whatever's happening. It's subject to going out with mates and getting drunk. That's what it does. There's no one that can stop that. There's just thoughts about it. Afterwards, normally, I got you, words are irrelevant. Yeah, they just don't come near. Hi, Josie. I wonder what is the character truly afraid of deep down? Collective fear? No, death. And that could be not feeling enough, loved, included, all those things, you know. It lives in the story of I'm enough, I'm not enough, I'm this, I'm that. It has this whole library of stories about itself, but you know, they are just stories. Because the me is not real, a real person, and the stories aren't real. It's unreal stories coming from an unreal, contracted sense. Seems to be felt most of the time, however subtle, but I can not pinpoint exactly what it's afraid of. Mostly noted during interaction with others. I don't know, just exploring, thank you. I think there's probably a few things there. And usually it comes down to, and I can only say this in the story of Lisa, of not feeling good enough. Usually that's what it comes down to. It can't be pinned down to words or anything. No, it's totally ineffable, indescribable, unfathomable. And yet it's totally ordinary, extraordinary in its ordinariness. Because it's everything, there's nothing else. It's wild and unbound and free, and just words will never ever touch it, but expression seems to happen. And do the feelings, thoughts, images, sensations, etc. get joined together to form the illusion of me? I don't know. I just have this memory of being very young and suddenly feeling self-aware. And then maybe the thoughts and images and stories about that, trying to be good enough, trying to please my parents and trying to fit in. And all these stories just get built up and built up and built up until the illusion just gets out of control. And then, you know, and then the person starts seeking for a way out of it. And then, you know, the person can seek in material things and more abstract things like religion. It goes to spirituality, you know, and it's seeking to get out of this belief that I'm this kind of person and now I'm suffering. The seeker is born. The seeker was born here at 21, you know, real full-on spiritual seeker. So in a way, yes. I think it's a build-up of lots of things. There's self-awareness, and then the build-up of the story and the sense of contraction, always getting more and more contracted. Or less, maybe. CDD. Yes, reality showed itself, and I wasn't even aware of the non-dual message at that time. Yeah, it could just suddenly be revealed. Suddenly, that sense of that contracted self is not there, and bam, it's just revealed to nobody. There's not even awareness there. It's just there. It's just this. It's just this. And this is beyond space and time. It's so beautiful. You know, the voice in the head. Well, there's voice in the head. There's dialogue that goes on. There's a sense of contraction and dialogue that goes along with that. I guess it's the head. Don't really know. It's such a strong habit believing the body, mind, sensations, feelings, and perceptions belong to me, and it's the me that makes them more painful. Well, actually, Anne, none of that's true. All of it is aliveness. All of it is in free fall. And it's not the me that makes them more painful. It's the whole lot all landing at once. The whole lot is just what's happening. The me makes a story of making them more painful. The whole lot is just happening. Just what's apparently happening. It is this happening as that. Kunal, then we should go back to childlike wonder to flow naturally with this aliveness. Well, when there's no sense of self there, childlike wonder is there again. There's a childlike wonder, yeah. And everything just flows, it just flows naturally, because it can't be any other way. It's absolutely complete. This is absolutely whole. It can't be any other way. Anytime you try to take something away or put something in it, those are just stories about taking away and putting in it. Even those are in the wholeness. It's just whole, absolutely complete. Wow, do you know about the terror management theory? No, I don't. I don't know. I don't have any interest in those sorts of things, but you're very welcome to explain it to me. This is what I do, right? I read science fiction, I watch science fiction, I speak to people about non-duality, and I paint and make art. That's my life. I don't read any non-fiction or anything like that. Yes, I think blood runs, breathing happens. I didn't choose to come here or choose my parents' genetics or conditioning, and everything happens. But I think I choose things. There's a belief that I do. Yes, there's a belief that you do choose things. That's part of the reality of the me. That's part of its story. The story of the me is its reality, and it lives in that, and it thinks it's true, and it thinks it's real. But everything is just running naturally, unfolding really, just unfolding. Not in time, just unfolding. Oh, that's to somebody else. Yes. Okay, they're having a little conversation there. Listen, what do you think about Black Mirror? I love Black Mirror. It's one of my favorite shows. It's so dark. Love it. Charlie Brooker is a genius writer. Hi, Ramona. Joe, what's happening has permission to be as it is. Permission by who, Joe? Oh, nice to see you too. I enjoyed our day in Malaga. Josie, I love the humility in this exchange. So beautiful, so grateful. Yeah, yeah. Hi, Will. Yeah. There's some great people who come to this talk, I have to say. It's always such a lovely flow of comments and questions and sharing. It's like lovely discussion. And the last Saturday of every month, I have the webinar when we can all just, you know, I only have like 6 places usually. I'm so hot. And it's a chance for us to get together and discuss with each other in the same way, but we're all on video. We can all see each other, which is really nice. Josie, I would be curious about science fiction recommendation from Lisa. Books, film, or TV? At the moment, books. I would say Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Anything by Ian M. Banks, like anything. TV, I watch every single sci-fi there is. Films, Blade Runner, latest Blade Runner. Pinging. But for books, Ian M. Banks, and I'm reading, it's called Nexus at the moment. It's a 3-parter. It's about post-humanism. It's really good. Donnie, Lisa, why do you think this can be seen so clearly and obvious for a short time, and then the illusion of the contracted me can come back so strongly? Because the me, the sense of me, is very sticky, very sticky. Yeah, but I've seen it time and time again that the me starts coming and going, coming and going. Being there, not being there is more of an accurate description. And when it's coming and going very quickly, I can see that its days are kind of numbered, really. Yeah. And funnily, Tony saw it here as well. The contraction was coming and going so rapidly, you know, like sometimes within 5-10 minutes. And bless him, he was so sweet. He said, "Oh, it's okay, sweetie. Your days are numbered," he said. Yeah, but when the contraction was here, it was so painful. It was awful, Ramona. Yeah, it was a lovely day. Permission by who? I just logged in. The most beautiful question. To who? Yeah. Josie. Kunal, how does love and compassion tie in with this message? It kind of doesn't. Love and compassion happens. I would say that love and compassion happens in the human. Humans have a lot of love and compassion. Most humans are compassionate to a lesser or greater degree. I would say it's just what happens, what apparently happens. But there's also what is left, what is apparent when there's no seeker anymore, is that this is love. This is love, but it's not love as a feeling. It's just intelligence. love, life. It's a maelstrom of life, really. Hi, Martin. Elisa, the sci-fi Forbidden Planet, a favorite. All right. Yeah. Well, the old one. Joe, the world's real and unreal. Thanks, Lisa. Oh, thank you, AS. Okay, I have 5 minutes left. That went like super quick. Donnie, thank you. Yes, I get that. I thought you would say that. Yeah, except I can't remember what I said, but thanks. Listen, will you ever collaborate with Lisa Cairns? I doubt it, but I do love Lisa. She's such a lovely person. Well, I mean, you never know. You never know. We have a very different way of speaking. Yeah, I mean, it's very different because I don't have any interest in helping the personal story, and she does, which is, you know, that's her thing. But I love her because she's a lovely person, and also because even though she gets a bit of a rap about what she does, I'll say this much about her: she has integrity. She has integrity, that woman. She doesn't give a shit. Doesn't care. Lovely, super quick to say. Thank you very much. Oh, you're welcome. Hi, Claudia. Thank you, Josie. I'm going to tell my me that its days are numbered. Maybe I can scare myself to death. Oh, yeah. There's no choice in any of it because no one's doing it. No one's doing it anyway. No one ever died here. There was never anybody here. Nobody lived. Nobody was born. Nobody's going to die. Nobody's alive. Nobody's dead. That's just what's happening. And it's absolutely complete. So utterly complete and so utterly wondrous. And I don't mean that in a kind of a blissful, wonderful way. It's just wondrous. It's a mystery. It's the thing we all think we want. It's already here as everything. Unconditional, infinite love. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I'm going to tattoo it on somewhere. As it's beautiful as horrifying. It's as beautiful as horrifying. Yes, absolutely. It's astonishing. Astonishing. This, whatever it is astonishing. How astonishing is this? That it's even here, that we're even talking about it. That's insane. It's wild. It's wild. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining. I will be here next week. Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks. Thank you so much for joining. And I will be speaking with some of you on Wednesday night. In the chat group. And have a good week. And lots of love.